We want to talk about Shell, of course, this fantastic, wildly entertaining film. Why is this going to keep people on the edge of their seats?
Because it's wildly entertaining.
Yes.
It's, you know, it starts as one thing, it's very camp, has great themes, and then it sort of just kind of like starts to unfold and it becomes this very, very unexpected theatrical experience. And we get to play really fun, crazy characters. And your character has the biggest arc.
Yes, she does.
But we won't.
That we won't give away. But I think it's so fun because as soon as you think, you maybe start to settle into what you think the genre of the film is, it takes you on a completely different ride, and the movie just like flies by, and I think it's such a fun experience. It's like all films should be watched in a theater, but particularly films like this that are so wild and fun and ridiculous and campy, like that's the seeing that with an audience is like, I think, why we go to the movies.
Yeah, and like has such a clear vision. Max Minghella, our director, had such a clear vision of what he wanted and executed it, and it's specific, which is always fun to experience because it feels new.
And unwavering.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Like we would come in with so many questions, but Max was always unwavering about his vision for this. And when you're making something like this, which you don't really have a reference for a movie like this, to have that trust with him was really special.
I really like seeing the two of you together because you seem like you have a great chemistry. Is this the first time that you met working on this film?
No, I've known her since she was born.
She's a baby.
I met her dad back when I would try to get into bars and when he owned bars. And I'd be like, "Hey Randy, can I come in?" He'd be like, "You're underage."
I'm sure I know who you are. Of course, I'm sure he told you, "No, you can't come in."
Yes, he told me no all the time.
All the time.
But so and then actually back when your mom was dating other people or married to other people,
married to them,
she knew my mom, and so as it goes.
Yeah.
Remember when she always looked the same. It's like she had the cutest, most beautiful little face, and then it just grew and it looked the same, but just got more mature. I was like,
I've had the same face since I was a toddler. Like literally, my face has just stayed, and then I just grew 100 feet tall, but my tiny little child face has remained.
Yeah, and I remember like seeing her walk the first time in a show, and I was just like, little Kaia. So yes, I've known Kaia a long time.
So then what has it been like now to work together on a project and be able to bond over that?
We didn't get to work together.
No.
I mean, you're working together now.
We had we shared like a makeup experience.
Yeah.
It's fun.
But it's really fun. It's great. It's like, anytime you enter into a new job, it's like, at least for me, I'm terrified. I mean, I'm terrified every day, but like particularly walking onto a set, it's scary. And when you're working with pros who, you admire so much, like Almost Famous is still to this day one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, you played the most iconic character.
Aww.
I would try to dress like Penny Lane. I mean, so, but to then have someone that and that has your back and will take care of you, and that's thankfully how generous and wonderful Kate is. It was great.
And I think too, there is this, it's a very weird world we grew up in that can feel extraordinary from the outside looking in. But there are certain families that have done just a really wonderful job of raising kids in this wild environment. And so for me, I almost have this for me watching her and spending this time with her, I'm almost feeling pride for her mom, knowing that she's, you've grown up into this just elegant, eloquent, smart, and kind person, which is a very sometimes challenging thing to do,
I don't want to break this up. It's so nice.
It's so nice.
I love what you said about that because in the production notes, Max was talking about how his mother used to tell him about the movies that she would watch every day in the 80s and the 90s, and he really wanted to pay homage to those. So I just want to know, what did these folks teach you about the 80s and the 90s?
Oh my God! They're so cute!
Stop. Wait, I hope she still has that dress. That's very cute.
I think that's Voyage. Ask her if that's Voyage. Yes, because Voyage was the thing back in the.
Oh my
Look at
gosh.
your mama. Look at your beautiful parents.
Okay, I love your mom's, or yeah, both
My
of
mom's
their hair,
hair.
actually.
I'm
That
like, my
hair?
mom. That hair is wild.
What is that, it's
That's
like
got to be a
mullet?
Bob Mackie too. I know. I'm looking at their fashion.
Yeah, the feathers.
This is just
And, like,
this is
silly.
just mom and dad to me. You know, it's wild, isn't it? When you think about sort of, you know, it's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and what they taught me about the 80s and 90s, like, I don't know,
It was way more fun.
it sounded more fun. It sounded
You could
like
get
you had-
away with a lot more.
I think that's what they taught me
Yeah.
about the 80s and 90s.
My
is
mom
you
was
could get away
saying
with
that the other
anything.
day about when she was younger. She used to go to this jazz club, and she was like, "Yeah, I remember seeing Miles Davis and Joan Baez." I'm like, "Mom, you're like going to be 70. How could you not have told me this?"
And they mentioned it
Um,
so, like, that was just their experience. It was just normal.
Yeah. I mean, look, the reality is that it feels probably more glamorous than it is in real life, and but at the same time, it's an honor for me to have grown up with such brilliant storytellers, and I think when you become, you know, it's probably a little different, you know, because your dad does different things, and your mom really is a supermodel, like one of the most iconic supermodels, and sex icons. I mean, she was just so sexy.
Yeah.
It was like ridiculous. Oh, but
know.
I'm
Like, is it
sure
weird
she was
'cause
on
she's
my
mom,
brother's
but
wall.
I think she's so hot.
She's so hot.
I think she's really hot.
But for me personally, like, we grew up in this very kind of, it was, you know, real, and then the world for us was just storytelling. It was like creating these characters, reading incredible material with some of the most innovative, creative minds, meeting and growing up with some of the most brilliant directors that have brought us some of the great cinema history, and really I feel like that has been such a privilege of mine to grow up in that kind of creative environment at that level. Like, what a dream, and then to be able to carry on and be in this amazing job we all get to do, and to be and to actually like be received in it as well. I mean, when you think about my family, it's not just my parents, it's my brothers, it's my sister-in-law, like we're all in it, you know, and it's just the best.
Yeah.
It's just the best.
And then how grateful to just be able to be here and like with your own title cards, you know, it's like you've done this as well. Like you had a support system, but also like you're here and you're doing it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
25 years now. I'm a veteran at this point. I'm like, I've got, you know, I've been through it all. It's been really interesting, you know. This is a very interesting business.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about, you know, there's a theme, there's a plot point of, you know, aging in Hollywood and sort of what that looks like. There's even a joke about aging gracefully and how everyone kind of likes to say
Right,
that.
but that's like really a dig.
Right. How do you both approach that subject?
I mean, it's so funny because we made a movie about it, but it is always the question you get, even if the movie isn't about it, right? So it's always like, it's always a part of what we do, because we when we show up, we're showing up wanting to look awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I want to put on a beautiful dress and get my hair and makeup done and feel beautiful, and that's part of the fun of what we do, right? But the perception from the outside in is that it has to do with aging, and then you have to answer the question, and then you're like, what a strange question. I don't think about it. Like, I feel like, you know, it's just not like, it's not a main character in my life. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm very present and focused on like how I feel and how I'm like conducting my life versus what I look like. Mm-hmm. I think that is more of a question that comes from the outside in. It's more of a media question, something that everyone loves to post because people keep watching it. So, you know, you just sort of become a part of that machine, and you know, you just be like, oh, okay, like, how do you feel about aging? Like, I'm not dead yet, so pretty good. Like,
lucky,
you know,
lucky to be able to
yeah,
age,
yeah,
lucky to have the opportunity to age.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it just seems sort of like a, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've barely like gone through puberty, so I don't know if I've aged yet. However, I am grateful that this is part of the conversation, because the fact that we're opening up these conversations so that, you know, when I do start aging.
But I feel like I got those when I was in my 20s too.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you didn't.
Oh gosh, I got pregnant really young, right? So I gained 70 pounds. It was all about body image. It was all about what you looked like, especially then. But it doesn't matter, because it's just it's being highlighted because we're choosing to talk about it, which is what this movie is about.
Yes.
Right? You're highlighting how absurd it is that it's continuously this conversation.
Yes.
It's a very, you know, it's very much put upon you versus like what should be sort of the reality, and it becomes a very dangerous topic, doesn't it? And yet we still talk about it over and over and over and over again. It's really interesting.
That's why, like, I hope people can laugh at the absurdity of it from watching this movie, because, like, while these are really real things, you also just have to take a step back and be like, you know, like, were the Pilgrims thinking about this?
Actually, maybe some of them were.
By the way, they probably were.
I feel like
it's like, you know,
I feel like
I'm wondering if this was is it media, or has this been Taylor's?
My thing is
I've
that
lost you.
I just feel like people should do whatever they want, right? Like, if you just like do what you want, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks, right? It's just like, enjoy your life. Like, it doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
So like, if you know, people, you know, I think what happens, people get so like zeroed in on looks and things and age, and just like, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
And just real quickly, Kaia, how are you going to be celebrating Emmy's Sunday with your Palm Royale family?
Oh, well, I sadly don't get to be there with them because I'm here, but I'm so thrilled. I mean, like, they deserve all the praise they've gotten and the recognition. That's like like this project, it's another project I was like, I feel like I shouldn't be here, but I'm so grateful that I just was like a sponge absorbing everything. So I'm rooting for all my castmates and all the hair and the makeup and everyone. Just, yeah, they deserve all the praise.